Victoria.
Okay. You're on camera.
Come on in. Take off your flip-flops.
That would help. I try to get her out of those flip-flops. And make her put shoes on, but it's just so much easier.
You know the drill. Take off walking. And back. Ooh, don't hit me. Good job.
That's good and straight. One more time. Have you had your exercise?
Jill, tell me about Victoria, how old she is now and when she started.
Victoria's 12 and a half now, and she was about 6 and a half when we started the therapy. She was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when she was 2, although we knew at birth there would be probably the cerebral palsy. She had the cord wrapped around her neck and it had a knot in it, so she had lack of oxygen to the brain. Still by the age of 6 and a half, even though we had tried several different alternative therapies, she still really didn't have any speech. She could say about 10, maybe 12 words. Wouldn't or couldn't repeat words after us. No new sounds were emerging.
But you said, now did you do the regular speech therapy, PT and OT?
Yes, we did all that with not much success. And some alternative therapies which helped with her muscle tone, but it wasn't until we came here when she was 6 and a half, and I think we came 14 days straight in the beginning. And while we were here during that time, we didn't see anything. It wasn't until the way home, on the ride home. But Ed Snap had told us that that would be the case. That usually most people saw differences after they got home. Mm-hmm. I know he could see changes, while she was here, but it wasn't until we were on the way home that actually her speech started to develop first. But even then, back then at 6 and a half, she had no walking balance, no standing balance, basically. She could stand for about 10 seconds maybe, and she would just fall like a tree or a board. And no protective reflexes. Her fine motor was horrible, gross motor was horrible, everything. So after that first visit on the way home, she began to repeat words after us. They weren't real clear, but she was at least attempting to say new words and make new sounds that she had never made before. So we were pleased. We hoped that the balance would kick in so she could start walking, but, we were just very pleased that the speech started to come at that time. So we decided to come back 6 months later, and when we did, sure enough, the balance kicked in this time. So in 2 visits, we got, first of all, the speech, which was a big thing, and then the balance, after the second treatment. But along with that, she also had improvement in her fine motor skills, gross motor. Everything was improving, but those were the really big standouts, the speech coming first, and then the balance. Mm-hmm. Because when we got her home after the second trip, after that 6 months, it just started to emerge. It just was not coming up to that point. Now, the doctor that we took her to when she was 2 years old, who gave her the formal diagnosis of cerebral palsy, at that time he felt like her balance was as good as it was going to get. And it was like that. She couldn't stand for 2 to 3 seconds. And he said that even as an adult, her hand function was so poor that probably she would not even be able to use a walker as an adult. So, you know, we surpassed that in a year's time of coming to Futures Unlimited.
How many times did you come in a year?
That first time we came, I guess it was in the spring. I think it was on a spring break. And then we came 6 months later. And then I think we came again at spring break again. So in that first year, I think we came about 3 times.
And you did the home program in between?
The home program, especially in the beginning, we did religiously. I mean, we just did it just as Ed had set out. And that's probably another reason why we saw so much progress after we got home.
And now where are we? At what age?
12 and a half. And we've been coming about almost every year since she was 6 and a half. And I think we skipped last summer. But now even on the 3rd visit, one of the things she did was just another major thing was she gained control over her bowel movements, which was just one of those things that, you know, we were kind of dreading that maybe this was an issue that wasn't going to correct, and maybe for the rest of her life she would be faced with, you know, not having that sensation that she had to use the restroom. And that happened, I mean, I know exactly when it happened. It was on our 3rd visit, the very first day after therapy. For the first time, I mean, she felt that she had to go to the bathroom. So that was another really biggie to us. You know, so the speech kicking in with the first visit, and then the balance, and then control over the bowel movements. Now, since then, I think everything's just been kind of fine-tuning, you know, every time we come. I mean, the fine motor improves, the gross motor. I mean, she's just improving, you know, at a fairly good rate now. So I think that what you all have done here has just really set her in motion to develop more rapidly, because we were at a real standstill.
And this trip, you've only been here for a week, and you said you already saw some improvements while you were here.
Right.
And what were those?
Her muscle tone is, I mean, it just seems to be better. She's more upright. She's walking in more of a straight line. You know, and like, I mean, she walks, but, you know, it's not graceful yet, but I mean, she's getting there. But this time I've noticed that it's much more straight. And I'm not hearing her feet as much as I did when we first brought her this week. The first time I took, well, I guess it was after the 2nd visit when her balance finally kicked in. The physical therapist that was working with her at that time made the comment that, you know, she was so astonished by the progress. She told me, she said, I could not have done this in years. And I don't know that she could have done it at all. I mean, because you all just really got to her internally, and you weren't just treating the outward symptoms of the cerebral palsy. But she did make the comment that she just couldn't have made this progress in years of therapy with her. Which again, if you're looking at the cost of the therapy, you know, in relativity to going back home and paying for OT and PT at $90 an hour on up, I mean, what we got from this therapy in comparison, cost-wise even, I mean, it would have cost thousands more. And maybe not even got the same result. I don't think we would have gotten the same result. I'm just certain.
Victoria, are you ready to go?
Ready.
What you gonna do when you get home?
I can get my baby later. I thought I'd get home.
Oh, are you gonna run for me one more time?
Yeah,
Run to the
I
door.
can do this. Okay.
Get on your mark, get set, go.
Very good. One more time. Make sure you don't fall. Is that arm coming down? No.
Now, you know, Charles told Avery to run like this.
You don't have to lift them so high. Just a little bit.